Gwinnett College. Welcome back to another exciting Instagram IGTV episode. This is The Green Room with your host Kennedy Patterson. Welcome back to our Instagram at Grizzly_talk. Also, please be sure to listen to our audio platforms, whether it's Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and get this, Grizzly fans, also on Amazon Music. Now, we've been doing that really well, and a lot of the Grizzly community, you guys really been enjoying our content on Amazon Music. So I'm stoked, I am excited, and I'm happy that you guys are enjoying the show. Our shows, whether it's Grizzly Talk Podcast Show, whether it's The Green Room, whether it's the Grizzly Ground Show, you guys are loving our content and our network over at our radio station. So I just want to say to you guys, thank you so very much. And of course, if you missed the latest podcast, please go back and watch that podcast, because that one is very exciting, to say the least. I cannot wait for more podcasts to come later this week. Now, I wanted to, as we go forward to the Green Room, I wanted to bring more of a kind of a spicy look to the show. What I mean by that is I want to really go in with the show, and I really wanted to talk about the things that I could relate to the college community, my GGC college community, based off my experience of my 4 years now. As you guys know, I am graduating this December, so I want to share a lot of experience and a lot of things that I've learned throughout my experience of the college career with this 15-minute show. So hopefully you guys enjoy the topics as we move forward with the Green Room, of course, live from Swanky Studios. Now, before we get to that, please be sure to stay tuned later on next week, I want to say, because I will be a guest speaker for the SBA event they got going up next week. Again, that's October 6th, I want to say, around that area of that week. Of course, I'll be a guest speaker, and I'll be talking about my experience with my internship on Microsoft Teams. So please stay tuned for that. Special thanks to Ben Hines for inviting me to that event for sure. Now, on today's show, I wanted to talk about this topic, and of course, there's a list of topics. There's like 100 topics that we came up with, and of course, I picked this one: why getting a job your first year of college is not a good idea. So, if you are a senior, you can still watch the show and enjoy the show, but you may not really get much of this show because you're seniors and you probably have a job. Now, as most of you guys may not know, I do have a full-time job. I have quite a few jobs alongside with going to school at GGC. So with me being a senior and me being kind of an adult, I kind of learned to adapt having jobs and going to college all at the same time. I am a full-time worker and a full-time student, and that takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of practice for that. So when you get to your senior year, you might want to experience that because you have the energy and the potential for that when you become a senior. Now, this next topic is I'm catering more to my freshmen, because I was a freshman, just like GGC freshmen that are coming in who might have came in of this year, and now it's a little bit different with COVID-19. Or if you're thinking about GGC in the next coming of years, whether it's 2021, 2022, and 2023. So maybe my high schoolers getting ready to think about college. And this can kind of relate to not just being a student at GGC, but this can relate to every student that's thinking about a different college, whether it's Georgia State, Kennesaw, whether you're going to Valdosta, if you're going to LSU, or if you're going to Full Sail in Florida. There's a lot of things that goes off with this topic, and I think many students will agree with me on this topic. Now, why it is not a good idea to have a job freshman year. Now, I was a freshman year in 2015, and I didn't have a job, and I was okay with that, because freshman year, you're just now starting out going to school. Now, some freshmen might have to have a job. I mean, that's today's economy. That's today's world, that a lot of freshmen, they have to go out and find jobs while they're starting out in college. That's how it is. I'm not shaming students who do that, because a lot of students have to do that. But when you don't necessarily had to work your freshman year, I recommend that as well. Now, I didn't have a job because back in 2015, I wasn't really qualified for many jobs that I have now. If you ask me if I had jobs like I do now in 2015, I would be laughing and say, hey, that's impossible. Kennedy can never do that. So I didn't get qualified for many big boy jobs that's out there now that I am qualified for now back in 2015 because I didn't have the experience. I wanted to go all in, and I wanted to start school and focus on school. And luckily, I was able to do that. Going into GGC Res Life for the very first time, living on campus for the first time, paid my dues and my rent, my tuition, whatever you want to call it, student housing fee. We paid it off, me and my brother both, and we were able to start freshman year going to college job free, focusing on our studies and really being comfortable. So starting out is a good idea to not have a job because you can focus on what you want to achieve in college. Now, I'll be honest for you guys. When I started freshman year again, 2015, I did not know what degree I wanted to get. I was an undecided major. I was just going to school because I felt like I had to. That was everybody's thing. You go to school. So I didn't know anything about a major. I knew what a major was, of course, but I didn't know what I wanted to do as my major. I had no clue. So I was undecided for about a year, freshman year and a little bit of sophomore year. I was still undecided because I didn't know what I wanted to do. So fast forwarding through 2015, I met some good friends, and we would go to the dining hall. Of course, back in my heyday, we would go to the dining hall. We would eat lunch, and I would have my group of friends, and I asked them, you want to come chill, you want to come hang out, and they tell me, no, Kennedy, I have to go to work, and I'm just like, work? What's that? Because I didn't know. I didn't have a job. I was focused on the studies. So a couple of my friends, they say, hey, no, I have to go to work. I can't chill. I can't hang out because I have to go to work. And I was so focused on my studies. Now, as I get focused on my studies, it really worked out really well with me because I remember my freshman year, I did really good in my freshman year. I had A's and B's. Now, I did have I had some C's in my college career. I'll come out and say it. I had C's in my record before. But freshman year, I was able to get A's and B's because I was so focused on my studies. Of course, I had World Religions. I'll be honest, and I'll shoot it straight for the GGC community. I like to be honest. I did take remedial math. I suck at math. That's one thing that you guys get to know about me on today's show is I really do suck at math. So I had to take remedial math because my scores wasn't that great. So I was able to take remedial math while focusing on the Core 1 classes that I took freshman year. That's why I say to a lot of students, if you have the opportunity to not really work and focus on your studies, then I say go for it. That's rare nowadays. I'm not saying that that's the social norm because there's been a lot of freshmen who have to work their freshman year because they have to make some money. I get it. I work too while going to GGC to make my money. So it is the social norm right now. A lot of professors would tell you to focus on your studies, but a lot of professors get that, students have to work in order to maintain their private living. You might be a student where you have to fend for yourself, you have to defend on yourself, and you have to become an adult at an early age, and that's perfectly fine. So my advice to the students who have to work full-time and go to GGC, I would say to you guys, you got it. I'm doing it, so if I can do it, everyone else out there who has to do it can do it. If you have the opportunity to go and focus on your studies and you don't have to work, go for it. This might be an option for students who might live close to GGC and might be able to be a commuter student. Back in 2015, I did live in Lawrenceville, but I moved from Lawrenceville for something. So I had to become a residential student, and I had to live on campus because I lived about 2 hours away way long ago. So that purpose, and a lot of people too, whether if you are an international student or if you're living a couple hours away, or even athletes, sometimes they live on campus with the scholarship resident assistants. They lived on campus because that was their compensation for being a resident assistant. If you are looking for that though, I would say go for resident assistant living, so that way you not, and I'm not saying go for resident RA for the free room and board. That's not what I'm saying. But if you have the opportunity to become a great leader, become an RA, because now you really get to focus on your studies and really not worry about living on campus and taking care of rent, is what we as grown folks would say. You can really understand and you can really focus on your studies, especially when it's become you being a freshman. Now, being a freshman and becoming an RA is very, very hard. I didn't become an RA until I was about, I want to say, half of sophomore, beginning of junior year. So you probably won't get it in when you first become when you're a freshman. You probably won't become an RA just outright. But as you grow and you grow about the college experience, you get to really advocate yourself and really go out there to different organizations, and you never know what might happen. Hence to the point, though, if you have the opportunity to stay home with somebody and then focus on just your studies, I say go for it. A lot of people tend to get a little stressed, especially in freshman year, where you're working and you're going to school because you're thinking about work too much. When you think about work too much, you're not thinking about your studies. And then when you don't think about your studies, you may not do so hot in your core classes. And you don't want to fail a college class, because you will put you behind if you fail a college class. Trust me, I failed a college class at GGC before. I'll be honest, I'll say that on today's show. I did fail a class before, and it sucks. So make sure you stay focused to my freshman year. If you have to work, make sure you keep your eye on the ball and stay motivated within your studies, so that way you don't get behind in your core classes. Take it from me, I've experienced it. It sucks. Failing a class sucks, and it really does sting a little bit. But we get over it, and we mature up, and we get on, and we keep trying those classes for sure. So that's what I have to say on today's show, is why I think having a job freshman year is a bad idea. Just because what I just told you guys about not being able to stay focused in your core classes. So I really recommend you guys don't do that. But like I mentioned before in today's show, some students have to. That's just what they have to do in life. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the Green Room with your host, Kennedy Patterson. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's show. Please be sure to follow our Instagram at Grizzly_Talk, and also on our Spotify platform, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and also on Amazon Music. And please be sure to ask, and I say this quietly because we do have an Alexa in the system here in our studio. If you ask Alexa to open Grizzly Talk Podcast, it will open so you guys can enjoy the wonderful, wonderful podcast.
I'm learning to find recommendations, but you can ask for a podcast by name.
I don't know if you guys heard her, but we do have her in the studio, and she has ears. She does listen. So please be sure to ask her to open the Grizzly Talk Podcast, so that way you guys don't miss a new episode from us here at Grizzly Talk Podcast. Now, please be sure to follow us again. This has been The Green Room with your host, Kennedy Patterson. Like I say, stay safe, drink water every 15 minutes, stay safe, and go Grizzlies.